Prepper Basics, an interview with retired Army officer David Hatcher, part 2. We're talking about prepping for those with challenges. This is Throttle Up Prepper. Hey, welcome to Throttle Up Prepper. I am your host. Welcome back for part 2 of my discussion on challenges that folks face who have either challenges themselves or members of the family that have challenges. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. If you already have, thank you. And be sure to stop by our website, throttleupprepper.com, and avail yourself of all kinds of goodies. And make sure you participate in the poll on the homepage. Those are always kind of fun. And getting ready to be updated to the next one. Right now, though, I want to pick up where we left off and welcome back retired Army officer David Hatcher. Good day to you, sir.
Hey, I'm back. We're back.
And just in case anyone's looking and watching these episodes back to back, you know, and their days apart in the airing, you know, we're not just wearing the same thing for days on end. We recorded these back to back, obviously. But listen, one of the things that we I wanted to ask you on the last time we spoke, lo those many moments ago, is, you know, your wife, for those who don't know, and I highly urge everyone to go back and watch episode 1, part 1, whatever you want to call it. But David's wife has multiple sclerosis. And one of the challenges you said that she deals with is obviously has to do with mobility, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but presumptively, and I know you had also mentioned earlier that your primary, you know, worries or concerns are not necessarily the 3 years grid down kind of things, but the more natural disasters, shorter term things. But how do you plan for like a situation where you may have to bug out, or is everything focused on bugging in and that's your plan and that's what you're going to do? How do you deal with that whole scenario?
Well, the realization that you have to have supplies if you're going to hunker down and stay in place, in which I think is overall prepping. If you have a good place to hunker down and all your supplies are there, why get up and move?
Right.
You'll be limited in what you could take, and if you just have a one vehicle, that's then you got to load it up very quickly and then leave. Right now, I'm talking to you from our Winnebago camper, which I consider probably the best the best bug out vehicle possible. Because we're self-contained, and if anybody is really, you know, that would, if we had to bug out, let's say for damage from a tornado, we're down here in hurricane land.
Yes, you are.
Hurricanes don't bother me as much because you get 2 or 3 days notice.
Yes.
On a hurricane, you can get out, and we're not restricted to a particular direction or having to make reservations or anything like that. With the camper, I go north, east, and west. Not a good idea from here to go south.
It's not amphibious, huh?
Yeah, it's not amphibious by no means, but then we can change directions and go wherever the best weather is. A tornado, even if we're not hit directly and the effects of it, we may lose water supply, and I know one community here in southeast Alabama that it had that. A tornado came by and took out their water tower, their water system.
Wow.
And we all know what's going on up in Flint, Michigan. They still haven't recovered.
Wow.
So we have the ability to pack up and go hundreds of miles away and be self-sufficient. And not dependent. And I think that's what a lot of prepping is. You're not dependent on the government to save you, you know, or anybody else. We could not stay in, with her condition, we couldn't stay in a shelter, a designated shelter, because they would be crowded. And you couldn't get any rest. Plus, we have two adorable little dogs that wouldn't be allowed to go in there. And so we're just a happy family in this. So it's if it got to the point where we had to leave, like right now, and that's wildland fires, like experienced up in North Carolina and South Carolina last year.
Mm-hmm.
Then you just have to grab and go. But we do keep our equipment. I keep a lot of stuff already in our vehicle, and our vehicle is not a 15-year-old 4-wheel drive rusted out pickup truck either. It's a late model because you got to think it's got to be reliable enough to get you out where you're going. So,
or you got to be one heck of a mechanic, right?
Yeah, especially nowadays with modern cars. I wouldn't know. I had a car one night. It took me 6 months to figure out where the battery was.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that happens to.
Yeah. So it's but that's some of the concerns, and first aid equipment, medication for if you got everything else packed up, and you know what you're going to take, then it makes it a lot easier to grab the last minute things that you can't stockpile and keep in the go vehicle or even in a go bag.
All right. So all of your preparedness adaptations that you've had to make, and in addition to some of the things we've already discussed on the last video in this, what stands out in your mind? If somebody maybe new to prepping or who's been even prepping for a while, that maybe when they started prepping, there weren't any health issues, there weren't any physical challenges in the family. Maybe something new has come up and kind of thrown a wrench in the plan. What's your biggest advice or top couple things, or however you want to work it from here, that come to mind that you would tell somebody? How would you help them out?
As a caregiver, it's not only are you doing the everyday things, you have to face reality and project yourself into the future and try to get a grip without bothering the person that you're taking care of. I do a lot of things that my wife doesn't know I do. And that's all in preparation and to keep her from worrying about something. Some of it's very simple, and I'll give you a very simple example. She picks on me about my flashlights.
You too, huh?
Yeah, I got flashlights, but I look at it from, it's not just because it's a new flashlight or anything like that. I'm very, very, it's for prepping. It's in case the power goes out. Right. And she makes fun of me for this, and it was just a couple months ago, we lost power for almost 7 hours. And the power goes out, and what's the first thing I hear? Where's the flashlight?
Oh, now she wants to be a prepper, huh?
She wants a flashlight. I don't know why you have to have so many batteries. And I said, I don't know why I have to have so many batteries either, and I just, you have to, as a caregiver, plan for the worst, hope for the best, and really not bother with details with the person that you're taking care of. They have to maintain a positive mental attitude, avoid the stress, any stress that it may cause them, and avoid any negativity. That's their job, but yours is to think ahead.
Man, that is good stuff. And it is amazing how fast these segments go by. And I guarantee we are going to have you back from time to time. And if you say no, now we'll have to send a blind posse out after you. We're not real good stalkers because you hear that tapping of the canes coming a long way off. But we'll have to have some sort of special blind ops come get you and interrogate you further. But One more thing with the MS. I know we talked about medical things and mobility and pain relief, things like that. But are there special dietary concerns for someone with what she's facing, or is she pretty much good to go?
Dietary concerns is from a basic health standpoint. We don't eat out a lot. We try to avoid. Well, what I mean by eating out is we don't go to fast food places. We like fresh food. Growing up, I always thought food came in a can. I was expecting to go out in the garden and see cans hanging from vines, but that's not where it comes from.
No, it's
and
not.
I was always perplexed for many years why there's so much produce in grocery stores when there's a whole aisle of canned stuff over there. We got away from that, and we enjoy fresh food. And again, that's one of those things as a prepper, if you're thinking long term, 1 year food storage, that kind of goes against the grain. So it's up to me, it's up to the caregiver to make sure that in a situation like that, there's adequate food supplies for a long-term disaster type situation. Not for a total collapse of the economy or civilization, but at least get us through long-term natural disasters.
That is that's good stuff. And by the way, thanks for blowing it with me trying to get McDonald's as a sponsor for these things. But I guess I don't think there was any danger of that happening anyway. But David, thank you so much for joining us and doing these videos, and hopefully we can drag you back into some more madness here before too long.
All righty.
Thank you, man. God bless.
Glad to do it. It's been fun.